How many times have you had a gut feeling about something and ignored it only to regret it later? How many times has your gut feeling been right? What was that like? Do you know what your gut feeling is telling you in any given moment? We'll talk about all of that and much more. Let's get into it. In today's episode, we will discuss what is gut feeling? Where does it come from? Where is the place of prayer when you're using gut feeling to make a decision? And how do you know if your gut feeling is correct? One thing that I've learned over the years is that there are things that you just know to be true. It doesn't matter how much logic or reason you apply, you just know. You know that the ice cream that you're having right now is going to melt. You know that your dog loves you even though you haven't brushed his fur in a while. And you know that if you jump off that building, you're probably going to hurt yourself. These things you just know. But why? Why do you know these things? Because your brain has stored all the information about the world based on your experiences, observations, and interactions. When you're faced with a new situation, your brain compares the new situation to previous situations and makes a prediction. In other words, your brain uses past experiences to inform future decisions. This is essentially what a gut feeling is. It's your brain's way of processing information and making a decision quickly without conscious thought. Gut feelings can be helpful because they allow us to make decisions quickly. However, they can also be dangerous because they can lead us to make decisions that we later regret. That's why it's important to be aware of gut feelings and to use them wisely. But how do you do that? How do you know if your gut feeling is correct? That's a great question, and one that I don't have an easy answer for. There is no surefire way to know whether or not your gut feeling is correct. However, there are some things that you can do to increase the odds. First, you need to develop a strong sense of intuition. This takes time and practice, but it's worth it. The best way to do this is by paying attention to your gut feeling more often. Over time, you'll start to get a sense of what your gut is telling you in any given situation. Second, you need to be aware of your biases. We all have biases that can influence our gut feelings. For example, if you're a risk-averse person, you might feel uneasy about making a big decision, even if it's the right decision. If you want to develop a strong sense of intuition, you need to first develop a strong sense of self. This means understanding your own biases and how they affect your thinking. Once you understand your biases, you can start to see how they might be affecting your gut feelings. Finally, you need to be willing to take risks. Sometimes your gut feeling will tell you to do something that you're afraid of. For example, it might tell you to speak up in a group setting or to approach someone that you're attracted to. Taking risks can help you become more comfortable with uncertainty, which is essential for developing a strong sense of intuition. So if you want to learn how to use your gut feeling wisely, then start by becoming more aware of it. Pay attention to your gut feeling more often and try to understand why you feel the way that you do. Be aware of your biases and how they might be affecting your gut feelings. And finally, be willing to take risks. By following these tips, you can start to develop a strong sense of intuition that will help you make better decisions. The gut versus logic dilemma. When it comes to making decisions, we often find ourselves at a crossroads. Should we trust our gut instincts or rely on cold, hard logic? But here's the thing. The most powerful choices we make often involve a blend of both. You don't have to silence your intuition to honor your rational mind, or vice versa. Let's break it down. Logic is structured and methodical. It's all about facts, evidence, and careful analysis. Logic says, here are the pros and cons. Here's what the data suggests. Here's what history tells us. On the other hand, gut feelings are more elusive. They're those quiet whispers in the back of your mind, those inexplicable hunches. Your gut might say, something about this doesn't feel right, or I can't explain it, but I know this. Both of these decision-making tools have their place and serve important purposes in our lives. Logic shines in certain situations. It's your go-to tool when you're faced with clear, measurable options. You're dealing with contracts, finances, or other high-stakes situations. You have the luxury of time to carefully analyze your choices. Logical thinking provides clarity and helps protect you from making rash or emotionally driven decisions that you might later regret. But don't discount the power of your gut feelings. They can be incredibly valuable when everything looks perfect on paper, but something just feels off. You've encountered a similar situation before and have that sense of déjà vu. You're picking up on subtle cues that your conscious mind hasn't fully processed yet. Your intuition can often catch what pure logic might miss, tapping into your subconscious knowledge and experiences. So what happens when your logical mind is saying yes, but your gut is screaming no? This is when you need to pause and reflect. Ask yourself, is there something I'm overlooking? Have I ignored similar warning signs in the past? What might my intuition be picking up on that my rational mind hasn't considered? Your gut feeling might be alerting you to subtle red flags that your conscious mind hasn't fully registered yet. On the flip side, what if your heart is set on something, but the logical arguments don't add up? This is where things get tricky. It's tempting to throw caution to the wind and follow your passion, but it's important to strike a balance. Consider whether your gut feeling is based on genuine intuition or if it's being influenced by fear, desire, or other emotions. Ask yourself, am I romanticizing this decision? What are the potential consequences if I ignore the logical concerns? Is there a way to address the logical issues while still honoring my intuition? The key to making great decisions lies in finding harmony between your gut feelings and logical thinking. Here's how you can start to cultivate this balance. 1. Practice mindfulness. By becoming more aware of your thoughts and feelings, you can better distinguish between true intuition and emotional reactions. 2. Keep a decision journal. Write down the choices you make, whether they were based on logic or intuition, and the outcomes. This can help you identify patterns and improve your decision-making over time. 3. Seek diverse perspectives. Sometimes talking through a decision with others can help you see blind spots in both your logical reasoning and your gut feelings. 4. Give yourself time. When possible, avoid rushing into decisions. Allow your logical mind and your intuition to process the information fully. Let's look at some scenarios where balancing gut and logic can make a difference. Career choices. Maybe you're considering a job offer that looks great on paper, high salary, prestigious company, but something doesn't feel right. Your gut might be picking up on cultural misalignment or potential stress factors that aren't immediately apparent. Relationships. Logic might tell you that a partner is perfect for you based on shared interests and life goals, but if your gut is consistently uneasy, it might be sensing incompatibilities or red flags that aren't obvious on the surface. Business decisions. An entrepreneur might have a logical business plan, but their gut feeling about a new market opportunity could lead to innovative breakthroughs that data alone couldn't predict. While logic can be honed through study and practice, intuition often feels more elusive. However, you can strengthen your intuitive abilities. 1. Pay attention to your body. Gut feelings often manifest as physical sensations. Learn to recognize how your body responds to different situations. 2. Reflect on past experiences. Think about times when you've had strong intuitions. Were they accurate? What did they feel like? 3. Practice trusting small hunches. Start with low-stakes decisions and see how often your intuition proves correct. 4. Meditate or engage in mindfulness practices. These can help you become more attuned to your inner voice. Remember, the goal isn't to choose between gut and logic, but to integrate them. The most powerful decisions often come when your rational mind and your intuition are working in harmony. When they align, you'll feel a sense of clarity and confidence in your choices. When they conflict, take it as a sign to dig deeper, gather more information, or seek additional perspectives. Finally, it's important to acknowledge that even with the perfect balance of gut and logic, uncertainty is a part of life. No decision-making process is foolproof. Embrace the fact that you're doing your best with the information and instincts available to you. Be willing to adapt as new information comes to light or as circumstances change. So, should you trust your gut or rely on logic? The answer is both. Cultivate a decision-making process that honors your intuition while also engaging your rational mind. By learning to balance these two powerful tools, you'll be better equipped to navigate life's complexities, make choices that align with your true self, and ultimately lead a more fulfilling life. Remember, the most powerful decisions often come from that sweet spot where your head and your heart agree. Trust in your ability to find that balance, and you'll be well on your way to making choices that serve you well in all aspects of your life.